having participated in multiple sports, having coached different sports, wrestling is certainly a very challenging activity to be in, not only physically but mentally. With wrestling, you have to be in tremendous shape. You have to have not only an aerobic base, but you have to have an anaerobic base. And then the mental aspect of it, where you go one-on-one with another person, is unique to the sport. Baseball, you do a pitcher versus a hitter there for those few moments, but it's still a very team-oriented sport. And when you lose in baseball, you lose as a team. In most other sports also. In wrestling, when you lose, you're physically beaten by your opponents. There's a whole host of obstacles to overcome, and the first one is your own mental apprehension, the stage fright that's natural for that situation, to be on a spotlight one-on-one, engaging in hand-to-hand combat with something. And the first opponent you got to deal with is yourself, and fighting down the fears and fighting down that voice that says, you know, don't do this, or you're tired, or that other guy's really tough, or you're going to, all the things that any athlete has to fight. But I think at a higher level with wrestling, there are many benefits to being a wrestler. One of them is you learn how to handle your own body. You learn how to defend yourself in a given situation. In a real fight scenario, most fights turn into a wrestling match very quickly. If you get past the first blows of punches that might be thrown, it's going to turn into a wrestling match. So that in itself can give a young man or even woman a sense of confidence about handling themselves and being confident in any given situation, even when there's maybe physical danger involved. It's the growth in wrestling that can produce some of the most benefits. So if a person can overcome those adversities and overcome self-doubt and gain confidence about themselves, feel good about setting goals and meeting those goals, improve, that's going to set habits that'll carry over into real life situations, whether it's a work job or whether it's an interpersonal communication experience. Somebody's giving you a hard time interpersonally. A good wrestler has learned to persevere, to not give up. So they stay at it, they keep going, they think, they come up with options and alternatives, because that's the kind of thing that has to happen in a wrestling match. They don't just keep battering the same technique. They gotta stop and rethink and adjust, and those are key characteristics a human being has to do in any given situation, be able to react accordingly and efficiently. Another benefit of wrestling is the key of discipline, where wrestlers have to be disciplined in a variety of ways, and one of them is with food. In order to get to that 7% body fat, or close to it, somewhere in there, you have to be able to say no. You have to be able to create habits that are healthy. And one of them is giving up junk food, swearing off things like pop, swearing off things like McDonald's, just getting rid of all the non-warrior food. So we talk about how if you want your body to perform at this high level, you have to fuel it at a high level. Those are not easy things for a teenager to do. We have an obesity problem in this country, and it's there because people aren't saying no. And we ask our wrestlers to do that, and the successful ones that buy into what we're trying to do, they do learn to say no, and they learn that they can have self-discipline, another benefit that's going to carry into all aspects of life. We also train our wrestlers and educate them on how to maintain a low body weight, a healthy low percentage of body fat. You'll see our wrestlers typically have six-packs. They're often physically well built. They're well-conditioned athletes. Anybody that puts on a singlet has my respect. This is something that we repeatedly say throughout the season. It's not so much whether or not you get your hand raised, it's whether or not you were able to have the nerve, the guts, the courage to take on what you know is going to be tough already, and to persevere. And I tell the team every year, I point out wrestlers who didn't have winning records, who didn't have any medals to hang around their neck, but they benefited and they grew. And I know that wrestling had a positive impact on their life, that when they came to us as freshmen and left us as seniors, maybe they didn't have the medals, maybe they didn't have a winning record, maybe they didn't get their hand raised a lot, but they became a better human being.